you heard me talk about NASCAR changing and maybe the drivers changing. I don't think there's going to be any maybe about it. I think they will. Where is the new Dale Earnhardt, AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti, Richard Petty, Darrell Walter? Where are they going to come from? Well, I have an idea. Number one, they're going to come from a short track somewhere in the United States. What kind of car are they going to be driving? And maybe you're driving one of them. I'll give you a few tips. First thing, this driver is going to be a prolific winner. He's not a guy that you go at the end of the season, you go, how many races you win? And he comes back and he says 4. That don't cut it. If he says 14, then I'm going to listen to him. If he says 25, I'm really going to listen to him. Because all of a sudden, he goes down there with guys like Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson and people like that they were running short tracks for winning races. You gotta win races on the short track level and in abundance. You can't come up to me and say you finished. You had 4 race wins and you ran 50 races. That ain't gonna cut it. Okay, so where is this guy gonna come from? Well, he's gonna be probably 20, 21 years old. He's probably going to have been racing since he was 14 or 15. No earlier than that because he couldn't afford it. This kid is hungry. Okay, this is not a guy with a silver spoon in his mouth. This is a guy that's got an old cheap spoon in his mouth and he's been eating Vienna sausage and sardines and Spam and all that stuff when he couldn't afford anything else while he's on the road. He's been riding in the back of trucks. He's been driving the trucks, okay? He's probably running in Iowa. There's 59 dirt tracks in Iowa. He may well be coming out of there. There's as many or more in Texas, most of them dirt, and some rough, tough customers down there too. He may be coming from there. He may be coming from the place where there's a lot of racing going on, and that's down in Florida right now. Lots of races coming. What about the Carolinas? We ever see another driver out of the Carolinas? Well, sure, you got some good tracks here. You got Hickory and you got Carolina Speedway. You got Bowman Gray Stadium at Winston-Salem, etc. But I have a feeling that if another Carolina driver comes forth, we're going to see him as a guy that started off on dirt like Earnhardt did. He could come from the Northeast. Although I think the modified race cars probably put a little too much emphasis on tires, those big wide things. I prefer young drivers that come from running a little narrower tire so they got good car control. There's lots of good young drivers out there. There's a tremendous amount of them. And up until this point, I don't think they had much hope. Now, I go to a lot of short tracks through my association with Speedway Benefits, which helps short tracks. I talked to a lot of drivers, and up until NASCAR's announcement on winning, I didn't see much hope in those drivers forever getting out of places like the Cherokee Speedway down in Gaffney, South Carolina, or out there in the great little track in Paris, California, dirt track. Or Eureka out in California. I didn't see much hope for those guys. I think there's a lot of hope now. I think maybe there's that young guy that's won a lot of races who's saying, hey, maybe I got a chance now. Maybe I don't have to get my teeth capped to the cost of $25,000. Maybe I'll keep this buzz cut like I got. Maybe I can keep wearing jeans and a t-shirt. If you're a good enough driver, believe me, I think in the future you're going to be able to do it. Now, my advice to you wannabes that want to get going, again, I say no matter where you go and what you do, go to a place where you can win a bunch of races, where you can lead, where you're the top dog. Like I said earlier in the show, if you can't cut it and you're not winning prolifically, go find something else to do. And then the other thing I urge you to do is make sure that you get with the right people that can make a car get around a racetrack, because that's extremely important. You can drive the wheels off a car, but if you don't have the right crew chief and so forth you're not going to make it. Now, dirt's a little bit different. You can take a car that's a little bit slower on dirt, or maybe not handling quite as well, and win. So I believe very strongly in guys that run dirt, that start out in dirt, because these big old NASCAR tracks get greasy as the hot sun comes out, particularly as we see June, July, etc. come on. And these guys know how to win because they can drive a loose race car because they won on dirt. Jimmy Johnson's a supreme example of that. Except his dirt was Baja runs and stuff like that, where he's got to kick the rear end around, he's going real fast, etc. So I believe in starting out on dirt. If you go to asphalt, go somewhere that's got a hard tire so you can learn to drive the car, and you don't use tires as a crutch. You don't go just to the softest tires. So, again, I say, it's time to get going, it's time to win, and it's time to pick the right place to go. Now, what about sprint cars? Well, you know, there's a certain amount of drivers that come out of sprint cars. But with the outlaw cars, or the winged sprints, they're a very, very difficult type of car to drive. They're completely different than a cup car. Maybe you need to go to something a little bit closer to a cup car. Late model, particularly if you can get one that's at a place that's not terribly expensive. You don't have some $40,000 motor, you got a $5,000 crate motor. You don't have $250 tires, you got maybe $75 or $80 60 series tires. You're going to learn to race better on those 60 series tires than you're on those big wide soft ones. Don't use tires as a crutch, but it'll catch up with you as you go down the road. So, if you're that next superstar, win. If you win, I will guarantee you people will start taking notice because of these new rules.